This is Ellis and you're listening to Full Gallop, an NCPTV original. I'm joined by my fellow host, Henry Kim, and today we're going to be talking about Northside College Prep Athletics. Usually, you just hear us commentating games on NCPTV while you watch our streams, but today we're doing something a little bit different.
Hi everyone, this is Henry, and welcome to our first ever episode. For once we're not an actual game, we're just talking about it.
Yeah, definitely a different approach to sports journalism, but we're excited to tackle this.
It's nice that we can just reflect about the games that we've seen instead of just talking in the moment.
Yeah.
But if you're wondering what this podcast is going to be about, we're going to tell you about it.
Yeah, so basically we want to, like you said, we want to bring you Northside sports from a different angle. So we're going to be talking about some of our talking to some of our players and coaches, and kind of giving you a behind the scenes look at how Northside sports operates. So instead of just seeing how they play in the game on our live streams, you're kind of getting a behind the scenes look about all the work that goes into this. So practice and just everything.
Yeah. And so let's get right into it. Today's topic is reviews and previews as we wrap up the winter season and get into the spring season. We're going to be talking about the success of the varsity dance season and the hope that's present for the men's volleyball season.
Our first ever guest on this show is the coach of one of the winningest programs in Northside history, varsity dance coach Martha Mulligan. Her team qualified for the state championship this year and are winners of an unprecedented 6 consecutive city championships. Ms. Mulligan, welcome to Full Gallop.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so first and foremost, let's talk about kind of how this podcast came to fruition, because you had a hand in doing this.
Sure, but I thought it was your idea, wasn't it? Or
I don't know. I think we were talking about it in class about podcasts.
Yeah, it was in your class, right?
Yeah, it was in my class.
Pre-calculus, yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about.
Did I suggest it, or did you bring it up already?
I think you suggested we were talking about people who would make a podcast, and that kind of came up, and then you helped with names and stuff for the podcast.
Yes, but I definitely pegged you as one who would be good to make you and Henry both as one good to make a podcast, because you're doing so well with NCPTV.
Thank you. All right, so I wonder if you can kind of start off by walking our listeners through how the varsity dance season works. So starting with that fall season and then into the winter season.
Yeah, sure. So this past fall, in the fall of 2024, was the first time that varsity dance had a fall season, and I realized last year that that's what a lot of schools do. I didn't know that was a thing until last year. So last year was the first time we had a fall season, and we had tryouts last spring for that, and we met early in the school year with practice and had a short routine made for the soccer season. So they performed a short routine at the halftime of the boys soccer games, and basically that was it for the fall seasons. There's no competitions. We don't travel at all. We just worked on that routine, and then the competitive season is the winter season, and so that's when we had the 2 routines. We had the jazz routine. It's a different style than the pom routine, and so we were competing with both jazz and pom in the winter season, and we just decided whatever dance did better at competitions would be the one that we sort of stuck with, and pom did better, so we stuck with that, and that's the one that took us to sectionals and then to IHSA state.
That's great. Can you just talk a little bit about the importance of leadership and experience from your upperclassmen to the team?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that upperclassmen leadership is essential for student athletes who have been on the team. They have more sense of what teamwork should be like. They have a better sense of what their goals are, and how to reach those goals and how to get other folks to buy into those goals. I should shout out the seniors from this year, Mirabelle and Lisa and Ava, just wanting to really elevate the team. And, along with the juniors, Hazel and Leah and Louisa wanting the team to just have a better competitive season. But I think it was really the seniors who wanted to go to state. It was their senior year. They wanted to make it to state, and to have that accomplishment was a big deal for them.
And then I guess they're almost sort of setting that leadership like as an expectation for next season, right? Like they're kind of starting a tradition of that leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something, it's like now that we have attained something that, wanting to do that again in subsequent seasons is definitely like now that you've tasted it, you want it again. Yeah, for sure.
Would you say like the underclassmen on the team are more motivated then to continue and follow in the footsteps of those older students?
Absolutely. I think they set a bar high, and I think the ninth and 10th graders, better understand what it takes to have a successful team. I should mention that it's going to be different for us this coming season. We are moving up a division in IHSA, so we were 1A and we're going up to 2A. So that's going to mean bigger schools, better resource schools, teams that probably have a wider pool of athletes to get to their team. But I think that's more motivation for us. Like that's a reason to like level up even more this year for sure.
And how do you prepare for that like upcoming challenge then?
I mean, yeah, we're gonna meet more over the summer. We have some choreography days over the summer where we'll be working on new choreography for the competitive season. We've had some open practices this spring to invite folks that are interested, and just to keep that level of training going, just building more strength, building more flexibility, getting that parts of their brains active where they're learning choreography and practicing choreography, just doing that now and throughout the summer to try to maintain at least some level of sort of mental and physical fitness.
Oh, I guess the last thing then would be how do you kind of are there goals for next season, or how do you kind of build on these successes?
Yeah, I think, I have some goals for this coming season, but I kind of want to see how the team shakes out, and I want them to generate the goals. At this part of the year, I'm meeting with students who want to be captains next year. They have to read a book with me, and it's about how to be a captain. So I rely.
Yeah, I've done that too for tennis.
You've done that, right?
Yep,
right.
yep.
So we all got that from Mr. Albritton. Shout out to him that he kind of brought that that standard. And so I did that this past year for the captains that were captains this past year, and doing it again. And so, I don't want to impose goals on the team. I want them to decide these are our goals, and this is what we're willing to work toward. It's probably obvious what my goals are, so I probably don't need to say it out loud, but I still think it's important that the goals come from the students, from the student athletes, that they set it and they decide how hard they want to work to attain those goals.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
So that was a review of the varsity dance season, and now we're going to get into some previews for the rest of the spring seasons.
So spring sports are already underway, and they're off to a good start for a lot of teams. Women's soccer last night, JV women's soccer got a 1-0 win against Peyton. Pretty nice victory for them.
Yeah, good job for them.
Boys volleyball got second place in a tournament earlier this season. We'll talk more about them later here on the show. But let's just talk about soccer for a second. Obviously, it's an important year for that program. They've got a lot of seniors on varsity, so definitely a year to kind of to prove it for them.
Yeah, I think they actually only have 2 juniors, and then they have 5 freshmen. So
that's definitely a senior heavy roster.
Definitely
for that team, and so a lot of veteran experience. I think that'll definitely help them this season for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch them on the turf field. That's where they play their home games, varsity and JV.
Yeah, boys volleyball. I think they actually got their first win. I think it was this week or last week.
I think it was before that tournament. I don't fully know.
Oh no, it was after. They just beat Lakeview, I think.
Nice. So first conference win.
Yeah. So nice. I think they're 1-4 now.
Nice. And then boys tennis is off to a pretty strong start. If I say so myself. We
got the varsity captain right here.
we got a nice win over Lincoln Park. So right now undefeated in conference. 1-0, and then games against Peyton and Whitney Young this upcoming week. So
you better watch out first. Better watch out for Ellis Corda.
Watch out.
If any of you tennis players are listening to this guy's gonna.
I'm gonna win.
You. Oh yeah.
And then so good start for them. We watched softball. You'll hear more about that later on the show. But we watched softball play Lincoln Park. Tough loss, but lots of good defense from softball.
They're
good pitching.
Great defensive team.
Yeah, really sound defensively, and that's definitely going to help them, especially in those close games when you can limit those defensive errors, and then also have some good pitching on the mound too.
Oh yeah.
And then nice home field advantage there on the field. We do need a name for the field.
Yeah. If anyone is willing to say a name that isn't the
paddock,
or
we've heard the paddock and the stupid stadium. If there are other ideas beyond that, let us know. I think
please let us know, please.
we gotta think of something to call it, and
Sure.
either of those. Like I like both of those, but they haven't quite stuck as names for this.
We should name it after our NCPTV sponsor, Mr. Sabrinsky.
Sabrinsky Stadium.
Sabrinsky Stadium. That's tough.
Yeah. And then if you have any other ideas, let us know. DM us.
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah, drop it in the comments. I don't know what the comments are for podcasts, but we'll find a way.
I mean, this is going on YouTube.
Yeah. But if you're on Apple Podcasts, just DM us on Instagram or reach out at dncptv@gmail.com.
Also, if you're hearing those little music snippets in between the segments, if you wanna make your own little music thing and then send it to us, that would be great.
Yeah, we'd love to feature the music on the show. We'll give you a shout out. So definitely, or if you can help us make an intro or something like that, we're definitely trying to improve the podcast and kind of look towards next year for trying to make this a tradition and making it so. So let's look at a couple of the other sports. Baseball has been doing pretty well this season. They had a nice win against Mather earlier this year.
I think they've beat like multiple teams double digits, right?
I don't know. I haven't seen the scores for a ton of their games, but I think it's a good start for baseball. They've got a good team this year. Obviously, they did move down a conference after last year, and so this year they're gonna hope to win that conference. Yeah, I think like it's a very winnable conference to move down, and so gonna look to win a championship. Yeah, they're 7-7 this season. A nice recent results. 3-2 win over Mather, a 14-2 win over Mather.
Yikes!
And then a couple losses to Lakeview though. And then a couple dominant wins against Farragut. Tough loss to Von Steuben. But yeah, baseball off to a good start. I think definitely a lot of important upperclassmen on that team. You got Tyler Wiegand, who's committed to playing for Beloit. You got Jesse Nick. Yep, Jesse Nick, a big part of that team. So 2 players to watch if you do show up and support baseball. You can watch them this week on Wednesday against Chicago Academy. That's a home game. Or on Friday against Clemente, also a home game.
Where do they
Both
play
games
at
at
home
4:30.
games? Is that
I think River Park, right?
River Park?
I think so. I don't know. But we'll find that out. We can put that in the description of this video. So yeah, support baseball. They've had a good start to the year. But yeah, more right after this.
So now we're joined by varsity setter Eddie De La Rosa. How are we doing, Eddie?
Great today, Henry.
All right, that's great to hear. So just talk about your season a little bit. Like, how's it going?
So far, the first few days of our games were pretty rough. We went 4-1 during our tournament that we hosted.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You get first?
No, we got second.
Oh.
Yeah. But we won our first actual game 2 days ago.
Oh, good job. Oh, yeah, we already talked about that earlier.
Yeah, that tournament, right?
No, versus Lakeview.
All right, so what do you think are some of the strengths and weaknesses of your team, Eddie? Well, okay, let's start with strengths. Like, what are the major strengths that have contributed to, your win?
Strengths. I feel like we know what to do and how to accomplish it, and we have great people and a great mindset.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'd say your morale is pretty good too, like your team chem.
No, yeah, for sure.
All right, so given that, what are some of the things that have caused you guys like some detrimental?
We can't like finish what we started, and we sometimes go down a spiral, and it's really detrimental to our games.
How do you try to combat that, Eddie? How do you try to combat that spiral when you guys start losing some points?
We
It's okay. Take your
We
time.
can cut this part.
Yeah.
So it's a faster.
During the timeouts, we lift each other up, and we try to remind ourselves how far we got throughout the game, and not to give up during like a 5 or 7 point deficit. So yeah.
Do you have any goals for the rest of the season?
Win.
Goals are to win more, obviously, and to just pull through. And yeah.
So just for fun, what do you predict that your record is going to be at the end of the season?
So we have already lost
4 games.
4 games. So I'm thinking,
Well, okay. How many games do you have left?
give or take 11.
What's the record prediction?
I think we go 9-4.
9-4. That's pretty realistic.
Yeah.
Ellis?
I agree. I think it's gonna be a good end of the season.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think you guys are gonna go 8-5
Okay.
or 9-4,
Okay.
give or take.
Yeah.
There's some pretty good teams out there. Amundsen's pretty good. Payton's pretty good.
Thank you to Eddie De La Rosa for
Yeah.
joining our show today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eddie.
Thank you guys.
No
Yep.
problem.
All right, we are here at the Northside field, and we're currently watching Northside women's softball take on Lincoln Park.
Yeah, this is great, Alice. I just want to have a quick reminder to everybody. Come on and support our sports teams. Girls softball and girls soccer on the field, along with girls lacrosse and boys lacrosse.
Yep.
We got boys volleyball in the gym, and we got water
Badminton
polo.
in the gym,
Oh,
too.
badminton in the gym.
Yeah, and water polo. And then the best sport of them all, tennis over at Peterson Park. So come support these teams here. It's our first ever softball game on this field. Pretty awesome. And yeah.
Well, see you later.